For the past several years, the Philadelphia 76ers have felt like a team stuck in basketball purgatory. They've been trapped in no man's land, defined by aging stars on colossal contracts, locker room drama, and playoff flameouts that have become as predictable as the changing of the seasons. Entering this 2025-26 season, that feeling of hopelessness reached a fever pitch. Philadelphia is currently paying a combined $106 million, roughly 55% of their entire team payroll, to two superstars who never seem to play. One is the always injured Joel Embiid, and the other is Paul George, who released more podcast episodes last season than he played basketball games. Honestly, heading into this year, I had zero hope for this team. It felt like another year of waiting, another year of wondering, another year of inevitable disappointment, but then something completely unexpected happened. The leap that Tyrese Maxey has taken, evolving from a great young player into a legitimate superstar, combined with the explosive emergence of rookie VJ Edgecombe, has changed the entire equation in Philadelphia. When you look at the young and exhilarating core this team is building, Maxey, Edgecombe, Jared McCain, Quentin Grimes, and Adam Bona, a new path forward becomes crystal clear. It's time to finally move on from the process. It's time to close that chapter, learn from its failures, and begin a new era in Philadelphia. And the first, most necessary step in that journey is to trade Joel Embiid. Please like and subscribe if you can. These videos take me over 20 hours to produce. I create them by myself once I get back from work, so your support would definitely be appreciated. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to the video. To understand why now is the moment, you have to look at the grim reality of the present. Joel Embiid, the former MVP and the centerpiece of this franchise for a decade, has become a ghost. So far this season, he has barely played. When he has managed to get on the court, he's been on a strict minutes restriction, a shadow of his former self, visibly unable to jump or move with any of his signature force. He's looked terrible. His numbers tell the story. He's averaging just 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, as he desperately tries to regain his health and form. The most telling part, however, is that while Embiid has been on the sidelines, the Sixers have looked great. The young Sixers have been playing a fast, exciting, and modern brand of basketball. The team has looked energized, cohesive, and dangerous, even without both Embiid and Paul George in the lineup. They've shown that the future isn't just coming, it's already here. And that future is only going to get brighter. We haven't even seen the full potential of this young core yet. Jared McCain, the rookie, who was on a clear path to winning Rookie of the Year last season before a devastating injury, hasn't even played a minute this year. Once he returns to the lineup, this group of young, hungry players will look even more formidable. This brings us to the massive $106 million problem that is holding this franchise hostage. 55% of the team's payroll is tied up in 2 aging, injured players. This isn't just bad asset management. It's a form of financial paralysis that puts a hard cap on the potential of this young core. You can't build around your future when more than half of your resources are dedicated to your past. And if Joel Embiid's contract looks bad now, at 31 years old, earning $55 million a year while barely playing, just imagine what it will look like in a few years. At 35 years old, he is set to earn a whopping $67 million in a single season. It's a terrifying prospect for a player whose body has consistently failed him throughout his career. The same goes for Paul George. Signing him to that massive contract was a mistake in the first place. The logic, however flawed, was that if you could get just 2 healthy, productive seasons out of him and make a deep postseason run, then it would be worth it, even if the last 2 years of the deal were a complete loss. Well, so far he's given Philadelphia nothing. He played terribly in the few games he was available, And now, at 35 years old, he's making $51 million. That number will balloon to $56 million in the 2027 to 2028 season, when he will be 38 years old. The future of the Philadelphia 76ers looks incredibly dark if they choose to stay the course and keep Joel Embiid and Paul George on the roster. But if they make the difficult but necessary decision to trade them, that future suddenly looks incredibly promising. They can finally focus their resources, their strategy, and their identity around the exciting young core that is already proving it can win. The revolution in Philadelphia starts and ends with Tyrese Maxey. We've watched him grow from a spark plug off the bench to an all-star, but this season he has taken another leap entirely. He has evolved into a true, bona fide superstar, a legitimate top-tier guard in this league. He's putting up staggering numbers, including multiple 40-plus point games, and is averaging an incredible 37 points and 8 assists per game in the early part of the season. But it's more than just the numbers. Maxey has become the leader, the playmaker, and the engine of a fast-paced, modern offense that is perfectly suited to his talents. He is thriving with the keys to the kingdom, and he looks every bit like the franchise cornerstone you build around. And now, he has a running mate who looks just as special. The emergence of rookie VJ Edgecombe has been nothing short of a revelation. His first ever NBA game was historic. He exploded for 34 points, breaking Allen Iverson's franchise record for points in a debut and ranking third all-time in NBA history for a rookie's first game. That wasn't a fluke. VJ is currently averaging 25 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, leading all NBA rookies in scoring and generating national attention as a potential franchise guard and the clear front-runner for Rookie of the Year. What makes Edgecombe so exciting is not just his scoring, but his fit alongside Maxey. He plays with a defensive intensity and versatility that the Sixers have desperately needed. He can guard multiple positions, he's a willing playmaker, and he has the size and athleticism to complement Maxey's speed and shooting. Together they form a dynamic backcourt that could dominate the Eastern Conference for the next decade. Beyond the star backcourt, the depth of this young core is equally impressive. Quentin Grimes has shown that he can be a valuable 3-and-D wing, a critical role player for any contending team. And then there's Jared McCain. We can't forget how fantastic he was in his rookie season before the injury. He was a shooter, a secondary playmaker, and a high-energy competitor who was on track to win Rookie of the Year. When he returns this season, he will be a perfect fit next to Maxey and Edgecombe, providing even more shooting and offensive firepower. If you combine the salaries of Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jared McCain, and Quentin Grimes, their total salary for this season is $61 million. All four of them, the entire foundation of your future, make just a little more than Joel Embiid is making this year by himself, and just a little more than Paul George is making by himself. For the price of one aging, injured superstar, you get the core of your next championship contender. The value proposition is undeniable. Now, we have to address the big question. What if Joel Embiid gets healthy? What if he returns to his MVP form? Let's be clear. A healthy and motivated Joel Embiid is still one of the most dominant players on the planet. He is a top 5 talent who can single-handedly change the ceiling of this team. If he were to return to his 2022 to 23 MVP level, he could absolutely elevate this exciting young group from a good playoff team to a legitimate title contender. In a historically weak Eastern Conference, a team with a healthy Embiid, a superstar Maxey, and a rising star in Edgecombe could make some serious noise. That little is undeniable. However, we have to operate in reality, not in hypotheticals. We are now a few years removed from that MVP season, and Embiid has done almost nothing since. He has barely played in the 2 seasons that followed. Between his extensive injury history and the league-wide emphasis on load management for players like him, you are realistically lucky if you get 40 to 50 games out of Joel Embiid in a given season. The days of him being a reliable night-in, night-out force are likely over. Normally, because of how uniquely talented Embiid is when he's on the floor, it would be far too risky to trade him away. The fear of watching him get healthy and dominate for another franchise would be paralyzing. But the math has changed. With the explosive emergence of Philadelphia's young core, the risk is no longer in trading him. The risk is in keeping him. The greater danger is wasting the best years of Maxey, Edgecombe, and McCain, waiting for a savior who may never be healthy enough to lead them anywhere. The risk is worth it, because the team should be focusing all of its energy and resources on its young, available, and ascending stars. Of course, wanting to trade Joel Embiid and Paul George is one thing. Actually doing it is another. The biggest problem, without a doubt, is their enormous salaries. Finding a trade partner willing to take on that kind of money for aging and injured players is an incredibly difficult task. Let's start with Paul George. I think no matter what, the Sixers should be aggressively trying to trade him this season, even if it's for a bag of peanuts. The primary goal with him is salary relief. The truth is, they might have to attach assets, like a draft pick, just to convince another team to take on his contract. Nobody wants Podcast P at this stage of his career, especially not with that price tag. Even trading Joel Embiid would be a challenge. The real contenders, the teams looking for that final piece, are unlikely to want to take a massive risk on a star who can't stay on the court. His best days might be behind him, and a championship caliber team can't afford to have their highest paid player on the sidelines during a playoff run. On the other end of the spectrum, the rebuilding teams, the ones that might be looking for a star to kickstart their rebuild, don't need an injured 31-year-old veteran. They need young players and future draft assets. The Utah Jazz or the Brooklyn Nets have the contracts to pull off this kind of trade, but it doesn't make sense for them. Why trade away Lauri Markkanen or Michael Porter Jr. for an old and injured star that doesn't fit your timeline when what you need is assets? So who does that leave? Teams stuck in the middle. It sounds exactly like something the Bulls would do. Never commit to a full rebuild to get high draft picks, but also never build a good enough team to actually win. Just stay mediocre forever. They are a potential, if uninspiring, trade partner. At this point, it is completely uncertain what Joel Embiid's trade value actually is. You just don't know what you're going to get from him, and that uncertainty kills his value on the market. If I'm the Philadelphia front office, my strategy would be to hope he can recover enough to play a solid stretch of games this season, just to increase his trade value. If he comes back and looks healthy, you can make a decision around the trade deadline. It might even be worth it to play out this season and see if this group, when fully healthy, can make a potential deep run. But even if that happens, even if they have a surprisingly successful season, I believe Philadelphia absolutely needs to trade both Embiid and Paul George in the offseason. Having an extra $106 million in cap space to build around your young core and to acquire players that actually fit their timeline makes far more sense than keeping these guys on these contracts long term. Before I started working on this video, I already had some strong opinions about the Sixers and Joel Embiid. But after laying out all the facts, after looking at the contracts, the production, and the incredible potential of this young core, it has become even more clear to me. The Sixers must trade away Joel Embiid and Paul George. This isn't an overreaction to a few good weeks of basketball. This is about recognizing a rare and unexpected window of opportunity. Philadelphia has a chance to pivot to the future, to build a sustainable winner around its dynamic young guards, and to exchange an aging, injury-prone star for the assets needed to complete a rapid and exciting rebuild. Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and Jared McCain are all on amazing, team-friendly salaries for the next several years, with Edgecombe and McCain still on their rookie-scale deals. This is the single greatest asset a franchise can have in the modern NBA. The last thing you want to do is waste this opportunity. The nightmare scenario is ending up in 2028, having to re-sign your young players to massive max contracts and still having to pay a combined $120 million to a 38-year-old Paul George and a 35-year-old Joel Embiid, who I don't expect to be able to play much at all by that point. The Sixers need to maximize these precious years while they have their young stars on team-friendly contracts. They need to build around them, not continue to focus on aging stars from a bygone era. So, whether they play out this season and make a move in the offseason, or they pull the trigger at the trade deadline, the conclusion is inescapable. They need to get rid of these contracts, even if the return is less than what a former MVP might seem to be worth. The process is over, the future has arrived, and for the Philadelphia 76ers to truly embrace it, they must trade Joel Embiid and Paul George.